We're all pretty used to being tracked online, right? Cookies, those ads that follow you everywhere. We kind of get it. But what if there's a whole other level to it? A digital shadow that's tailing you, even if you're not logged in. Or, get this, even if you never signed up for a service at all. Yeah, that's what we're digging into.
So let's pull back the curtain on this hidden world of data collection. We're going to start with a concept that, honestly, sounds like it's straight out of a spy thriller. But trust me, it is very, very real.
All right, let me just ask you something really simple to kick things off. Do you have a Facebook profile? Simple question, right? Most of us have a quick yes or no ready for that one.
Okay, but here's the follow-up. Are you absolutely sure? Because, well, the answer might not be as simple as you think.
And this is where we get into this wild idea of a shadow profile. See, even if you've sworn off Facebook, chances are they've got a file on you. It's a profile built with bits and pieces of information they get from other people. Like when your friends upload their contact lists or data they buy from brokers. All these third-party sources.
So here's the kicker. They're building this picture of you, but without you ever saying a word. One of our sources put it perfectly. It's kind of like how we form opinions on people based on gossip and secondhand info. It's just a digital sketch, filled in by everyone else.
So you're probably wondering, how in the world is this even possible? How can a website know who you are without you logging in, without any cookies? Well, let's get into the tech behind it. It all comes down to a technique that creates a totally unique and totally invisible fingerprint.
Okay, so check this out. It's actually a pretty clever, simple idea. A website basically asks your browser to draw a tiny little image. You'll never see it. It happens in a split second, completely in the background. But here's the thing. The way your specific computer, your phone, draws that image with all its little quirks and tiny variations, that creates a unique signature. And that signature, or hash, becomes your digital fingerprint.
So what makes your fingerprint so unique? Well, it's a mix of everything that makes your computer your computer. We're talking about your specific graphics card, all the fonts you've got installed, your operating system, your graphics drivers, even your browser settings and audio hardware. It's not just one thing. It's the combination of all these little details that makes you stand out.
All right, so we've got the what, these shadow profiles, and we've got the how, this crazy fingerprinting tech. So that leaves the big question, right? Why? What is the point of all this super sophisticated tracking?
And this really shows you that there are two totally different sides to this story. On one hand, this tech is amazing for security. It's great at sniffing out bots, stopping fraud, and blocking hackers. But then there's the other side, the for-profit side. It's an incredibly powerful tool for building those super detailed user profiles for targeted ads and for plugging the holes in all that data that companies are buying and selling.
So because it can be used for both good and, well, for profit, it's kicked off this constant battle. It's basically a privacy arms race between the people who build the tracking tech and the people who build the tools to protect us.
And you can see this arms race playing out perfectly on this timeline. The whole idea of canvas fingerprinting really hit the mainstream around 2014, and boom, it was everywhere. Of course, privacy tools started fighting back, but this race is far from over. New techniques like drawn apart are popping up, and they go even deeper. We're talking about stuff like analyzing the tiny, unique hum from your computer's audio hardware to identify you. Wild, right?
And hey, don't just take my word for how big of a deal this is. The Tor project, the folks who are absolute leaders in online privacy, they called this the single biggest fingerprinting threat we face today. That's a huge statement, and it tells you just how effective and widespread this tech has become.
So, okay, we've seen how all this invisible tracking works, why they do it, and this constant battle it creates. It's a system built on one thing, collecting data from people, a lot of the time in secret. And that kind of begs the question, is this the only way to do things? What if we flipped the whole model on its head? Let's explore a totally different way of thinking about data, one that's not about taking, but about sharing.
Which brings us to a really important question. Does data collection always have to be this creepy, negative thing? What if the goal wasn't just about making a buck or surveillance? What if it was about making progress?
And that brings us to this idea, the world of open data. It's a whole movement that's all about making data, from governments, from scientists, from academics, totally free and available to everybody. The whole point is to solve real-world problems by letting anyone and everyone access and build on our shared knowledge.
And the coolest part is, this isn't just some theory. These are real-world examples of open data making a difference. It's being used to build smarter public transit systems, to protect endangered species like fireflies, to coordinate relief when disaster strikes, to create better, more sustainable farms, and even to make sure our elections are transparent. Real stuff.
So it all boils down to this huge shift in thinking. The tracking we were talking about before, that's data collected from people, often without them even knowing the full story. But the open data movement, that's all about data being shared for people, for all of us, to create a benefit for everyone.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. We've just looked at two completely opposite worlds, right? Data as a secret that's guarded or sold versus data as a public resource that's shared. And it really makes you think, what should the point of all this data even be? What should our relationship with it look like? Should your data be a secret, or could it be a public good?